Seattle too, man.
I promise you, Spencer was the only guy dancing during that last time. Gorilla time, 31-28. We open the fourth quarter, and it's Deuce Vaughn. It'll be a steady diet of that.
Yep.
And it's Obi Izor again making the tackle. He's been very, very active, the strong safety.
This is Colin Klein showing his version of not panicking. They ended the third quarter with an inside zone, began the fourth with an inside zone. Why are they doing that? They're trying to make sure that this TCU front is going to honor that with numbers. If they can count them and beat them over the top, maybe they take a shot. But for now, they're going to trust 22 to win this battle.
The trainers working overtime on getting Will Howard ready to come back in. Rubley. Nice to Vaughn. And he can always get to the edge quicker than most. I think, though, he may have come up about a half-yard shot. It'll be fourth down and about a half-yard to go.
Well, you got to go for this, and I think.
There's Howard. You can see he's ready. They're working on his lower back after getting dinged up and being forced to leave the game. He looks like he's about ready to check back in. They need a half-yard now, though, and they're going on fourth down.
They got to get some movement somewhere. They got to get movement laterally.
You must have soft on that left side. You must trust this play big time. 6 of 12 on the season on fourth down.
Didn't get it to him.
I think they stuffed him back there. TCU will hold. Make it 6 out of 13 on fourth down conversion opportunity.
They may get a generous spot, but I don't think they got it. Hodges did a wonderful job after being beat a couple of times tonight in the throw game. Well, he comes up big there. That's huge.
Are you surprised they went on fourth down?
I'm not surprised, Timmy, because I think they could have gotten it.
Well, I mean, that's putting a lot of pressure on a freshman quarterback.
Yeah, but you know what? You're on the road, Tim. I don't have a problem with it. I really don't.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not suggesting to you that some people wouldn't take exception to it, but I personally think I've got enough assets on my team where I can get a yard.
Well, the reason I ask is because of the conservative nature of the program. And if you're trying to get Howard into the game and he's thinking he's ready to go, why not play a little field position? Now you've given TCU, I mean, this is a chip shot opportunity for them to get 6.
We'll see how well their defense is playing.
Yeah. You got to trust your D, right?
No question. You got to know the TCU heretofore has not done a great job.
How about this?
Nice.
There's Wiley.
That's going to be a personal foul, too.
Wiley, veteran quarterback Duggan, had just the right play dialed up for a corner gap blitz. And it's going to be a personal foul to go with it.
Roughing the passer. Number 25, defense. After that, it's going to go. First down.
They bring in Boydo, Echo Boydo, 25 on the corner blitz.
You can see he comes inside the receiver that's releasing there, Timmy. Quentin Johnson, the ex-receiver, is just a little bit too extracurricular. That's a pretty wicked hit there.
Boy, I don't know.
Pretty nasty. I don't know, Timmy. I think he came with his head up. That's questionable. That's questionable.
Okay, maybe the shove at the end, but golly, that wasn't much. But they're going to protect the quarterback, no question. 11 yards on the play, then 10 on the penalty for a total of 21. Miller. Cameron Miller. Inside the 5, down to the 3, in the arms of Austin Moore.
Kendrick Miller was trying to hit that spin button on Matt 23. He got halfway through it, Timmy. Couldn't do it, but he was a world of nervous getting through there. I love the way this kid runs, man.
Well, if you're Kansas State now, Spencer, you got to be thinking, we must hold them to 3. We cannot get behind by 2 scores against this prolific offense.
Let's go inside the game quickly. We'll maybe get a chance to see a block coming up after this play.
False start. That'll back them up.
False start. Number 74, offense. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
That's Andrew Coker out of Katy, Texas, where he prepped at James E. Taylor High School.
I don't know, I've stopped counting. I think they've got about 9 schools in the Katy area. They got so many talented players coming out of there.
And a lot of road construction, too, I might add.
Yep. Here's the previous play, Tim. Let's take a look and see if we can see what happened here. This is what you want to do right here. He does a tremendous job of blocking on the outside. This is just a pancake block, man. And then mounted him on the back end.
Second and goal. Play fake. Duggan in trouble. That's it going. Oh, that was almost picked.
Almost, Timmy.
Almost picked off. That was a tremendous play by Jacob Parrish. That's the freshman that they were so high on. Joe Klanderman couldn't stop talking about him.
Yeah, he told us he may get some minutes, and again, because of that athleticism. And here's why. Look at his eyes. Focused back on the play. Knows he's got help over the top. Kobe Savage, the strong safety, is playing behind him, so he can take his young eyes and focus on the quarterback. Man, that's great confidence in your athletic ability.
If his foot was about a size 5 instead of a size 10 and a half, it would have been an interception. 3rd and goal.
They're in the cover two, so they're
The previous play is under further review.
Now, why do they have to look at that?
well, it could be an interception.
Scott Alexander's telling me he believes it is an INT. I thought the foot was out of bounds. They're going to look at it. They're going to look at it, but I don't know why they need to look at it. His foot is out. I mean, this is one of those stoppages that's just needless. He's out.
Yeah, he's out. Yep.
I have no earthly idea why they felt the need to stop play there. It's one of those moments when my content coordinator has to defend himself. He said, I didn't say that it was an INT. I'm just letting you know. Yeah, they're reviewing it.
I think the only thing they thought was maybe the right leg was down before the left one was clearly out. We saw that. They were thinking maybe the right leg was down, and it was not.
But this is, again, we talk so often about, we want to get it right. We have the technology to get it right.
We had one of these pickoff plays in baseball the other night, right? With the Astros. You ladder innings, and you got a bigger guy on base. He gets picked off.
Oh, by the way, they're 3-0 now.
Oh, man, they're great.
3-0 against the Yankees.
Forget about it. I was a little bit torn.
Oh, were you?
Given I spent so much time in New York, it was tough to see. I had to go with my Astros.
Yeah. Spencer was a dogged reporter at WABC in New York, and I'm sure got thrown out of a few locker rooms in his day. I'm guessing that happened to you on more than just a couple of occasions, that you were in a position to get that big-time interview at a baseball game, and it didn't happen. Here's the call.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands. It's an incomplete pass.
But Spencer, let's talk about what this means now for Kansas State. They got to get a stop here. They can't fall behind by 2 scores.
Yeah, you're still a little bit miffed about going for it on that fourth down, aren't you, right?
Yeah, I think they should have played.
You may be right, but it's another opportunity. I couldn't tell if you were still a bit miffed at that or not.
I'm just trying to hold the offense.
Hey, the game is doing that, man. This is a wonderful game right here. I love the way the coordinators are managing.
It's the best game on television right now. There's no question about that. A 3-point game.
They're not.
But when you're down to a freshman quarterback falling behind by 2 scores, it's tough. This is a huge play for the Kansas State defense. Miller. Touchdown, TCU. Well, he's got another gear.
Yeah, Tim, anytime you see 2 backs in the backfield, you know that there's some tremendous blocking going on up front. And hopefully you get an isolation of it because, you're outnumbered up front, right? So you got both backs in the backfield. But watch 17 act as a lead blocker here. It's called a slow draw. He goes back and seeks and finds Kobe Savage, the strong safety, in the back and just knocks him out. I think it's a wonderful effort on his part.
TCU's answer to Mr. Perfect. Griffin Hill with the extra point. Miller's 10 touchdowns now, tied for 10th in the FBS for rushing touchdowns. This could be an equalizer on special teams. He fumbled it out of bounds after he got hit at the 45-yard line. And let's see if Will Howard, no, it looks like it's going to be Ruby Fall the rest of the way here. The freshman is going to be coming out. Martinez apparently limped after that particular play. Again, pure speculation on our part, the best we can do. So Will Howard comes in, he gets nicked up, he goes to the sidelines. So enter Rubley, and now we're seeing Will Howard come back onto the field. Just as we mentioned it was going to be Rubley's ball, here comes Will Howard back in there. And they were working on him feverishly before they decided to go on 4th down and a yard, and it was stuffed. That was a huge return of 41 yards. Now, Kansas State's got tremendous field position. Let's see what they do with it with Howard back in the game.
Joe Gillespie down up some really nice run pressures here with Johnny Hodges there. Colin Klein up top trying to match him with his calls and his play upside. He's got it. The cadence about him is going to be a challenge on this series. He's got to score quick.
Well, they certainly scored quickly when it came in the first half. They are reading him defensively now, aren't they? Hodges Tomlinson did not take that fake.
Well, you got to stay home. Expect the quarterback. And again, they're not changing anything. Inside zone with the kind of jet action there, not fooling Colin Hodges. It's just wonderful that he's able to stay home and mind his own business to that side. Hodges Tomlinson did a wonderful job defending that play.
3rd down and 12.
See, they need to squeeze this up front because there's a lot of bodies. They may pull out, but there's pressure big time.
Off the corner. That pass
That's
is
big, that's
intercepted. Intercepted at the 44-yard line by Obi Izar. Nnamdi Obi Izar gets the job done.
I'm telling you, the aggressiveness Obi Izar demonstrates on this play to get his hands underneath this. Tim, he accelerated that last couple of steps, but did he catch it? Did he get his hands underneath that ball? It looked like, no, he did not. That ball, it should not be. When they review that, it will be an incomplete pass.
Yeah, Wheeler had the ball. He knocked it away from Wheeler and then credited him with the interception. And you see Howard saw it from that particular angle live. And it should be an incomplete forward pass.
Well, they need to recalibrate right now and get their mindset back in the game.
Well, the ebb and flow and the emotions of this one have been wild tonight in Fort Worth.
The World Cup has moved to the
Oh my gosh, why is it not stopping?
I like the strategy.
That's what that's all about. Well,
Well, Timmy, look, you're coming off your long bye week of the year, right?
I still say they should
Let me finish this thought. You're coming, you're perfect in conference play. Why wouldn't you spend it for this opportunity to go for it on 4th down? I mean, I know we didn't like the earlier call necessarily. If you think you've got the horses to make the play, great opportunity to show
I'm with you.
confidence in your team.
I get that. But just so you know, this was the
This was the previous play.
play. Forced him to throw it. There was a lot of pressure coming off the edge, and so he just had to unload. And he almost had it. And then Obi Izar took it away from him, but in so doing, the ball hit the ground. And this has been wild from the moment Martinez left the game. And Howard took over and was lights out for 2 quarters. And then he got hurt here in the second half of the game. But his back
Nice,
is
you got the ball.
right there. First down. Brooks.
Timmy had either one of them. I tell you what, Deuce was on a nice inside wheel route up the hash. He didn't go to the boundary. He had either opportunity. But this was a nice job of going to number 8 Hodges on that particular play.
On the check down, gets it just inside the 35-yard line to the 34. The Winters making the tackle.
If I'm Colin Klein, I come right back to that same action. I show the same look. On the 4th down play, we take a look at it. Tim, the eyes, nice job of concentration, releasing that ball in between The coverage over the top of the linebackers and in front of the safeties. Excellent job of concentrating in a tough spot.
Before that play, K-State only had 50 yards in the second half.
You like that call?
21 on that play. And here goes Warner, who was on the receiving end of a touchdown in the first half. But Spencer, I'll go back to this. If you knew you had a quarterback ready to come back in and you're playing that freshman, I would have gone for it on that earlier.
I err on the side of those guys understand their talent better than we do. I mean, I watch a lot of film, but they know their guys better than we do, and I believe they're confident in them.
On, takes the catch. Mark Perry with the stop.
And here's the other thing, Tim. When you set up, you can look at the surface of the play. In other words, the front, the numbers, and you can count them up. You know if the play is going to be good, in theory. And if you are familiar with your personnel and theirs, then you roll the dice. I mean, this is too big. This team was Kansas State undefeated in conference coming in. You had a bye week. You've got to think you're at your best possible place you could be in this season.
That I get. But if they lose by 3, I'm just saying. Second and 9. Uh-oh. He had Brooks, but he didn't see when he broke free. Now he's got to unload. Brooks was running that seam around Spencer, and he was there for a moment, but the pressure impacted Howard.
Yeah, I love the fact that they pulled Bradley Panzer out the right guard. They pulled him out to get extra protection because they knew they were running and going to move to the field, to the wide side, so they had some space to navigate. The pressure is going to be at a premium, so will protection down here, Tim.
Third down and 9.
I like the wide side of the field. I like some kind of combination route, maybe short motion, or use 22 to get open in the middle of the field.
They go empty for Howard.
Nice.
Over the middle. Overthrown for Warner. He was right there. That's a touchdown.
Yep, it sure would have been. Wow. Now this is critical here. If you're sitting there wide open, man, you got to throw that one. You got to put it right on the mark here. And it's a game of inches for a reason. When we talk about it, guys, take a little bit of offense. The motions perhaps may be involved in it.
Tennant from 40 yards to make it a one-score game.
Gotta go. Oh, no.
Missed it. He's upright on time. It was a nice attempt, but alas, a donk and the upright on time.
Price in seconds.
Kendra Miller is in the backfield. It's first and 10. For TCU, nursing a 10-point lead after trailing by 18 at one point late. I mean, very late in the second quarter. That's Miller ahead for 3 of 4, and they just want to play a little K-State prototype football. Just move the chains and pound and pound.
Yeah, and right now there's an 8-minute or so differential in time of possession, Tim, in favor of TCU. So that anatomy has been built in the second half primarily, and that's a point of concern.
There'll be a lot of conversation, as there already is in the social climate that we're currently in the aftermath of this game, and what really happened with Adrian Martinez. We certainly have our own views, but they are speculative in nature, and they have to be. As you see Miller ahead for another 2, maybe 3 yards. But understand this, okay? When we're preparing for a game, all we can do is try to give the best possible information we can off the conversations that we have with the coaching staffs of both teams. And we get great cooperation everywhere we go. But based on what we saw with Martinez, Spencer, I'm going to suggest that there was an issue coming into this game, and maybe something happened in that opening series that was not clearly obvious to all of us that tweaked whatever the problem was, and then he left the game.
I don't disagree, but I will defend both these coaches here in a minute.
Yep. Ooh, curl pattern on a quick slam.
Huggins
By
down.
Johnston.
Huggins took a shot in the chops.
Yeah,
We're
he
talking
did.
about this, man.
There's a flag.
It comes out late, but they had to think about that one.
It's Khalid Duke that hammered him
That's
there.
targeting.
He's a strong side linebacker. He came
Yeah.
with intentionality.
And that'll be a targeting call. You can bet on it.
You know, all 6'4", 146 pounds of him, man. He got him right under the chops. And his big heavies up front aren't happy about it either, Tim.
Roughing the passer with targeting. Number 91 of the defense. 15-yard penalty added to the play. Automatic first down. The previous play
91,
for
that
review.
That can't be right.
Should be 29.
Yeah, it's 29, not 91. Yeah. I guess when you're as large as Anyudike Uzama, you're going to be noticed even when you're not involved in the play.
That's targeting.
Yeah, clearly that was due number 29.
Yeah. We have Dean Blandino back in our studios. He and Mike Pereira and Dean are working overtime. Dean, what say you?
It's not Mike. Mike is home enjoying a drink. It's just me working overtime, by the way. This is a good call. Roughing the passer with targeting. Watch the defender lower his head, lead with the head,
Oh,
and then
man, yeah.
attack with forcible contact with the crown and to the head neck area. And this is the type of hit that the rule is intended to get out of the game. And this will result in a targeting call and disqualification.
Yep. I mean, all parts were there. Even that shrunken circumference up at the top of the helmet, the crown of it.
Yeah, that's
Was
big
involved.
because the first half of next week is going to be pretty important too. Oklahoma State coming into Manhattan, Kansas next Saturday. Well, while we're taking a look at this, Spencer, let's go ahead and discuss what we were prior to this targeted call. We're about to get the call from Derek Wilson.
After further review, the ruling on the field of targeting is confirmed. However, the foul is on number 29 of the defense. Number 29 is disqualified for the remainder of the game.
And let's go back to the circumstances we were discussing with quarterbacks and the loss of Martinez.
Well, I think bottom line is we know the character of both of these coaches. And I think clearly, in the case of Coach Dykes, you have a guy that has worked overtime to be transparent and upfront
Yeah.
and make his program more accessible in a lot of ways. So, but there is a gamesmanship involved when you're playing games that are this tight for two teams that are top of their respective conference.
Absolutely.
You've got to understand how important the quarterback position is. We look at a conference like the Pac-12. 70% of the starting quarterbacks are new in that league. So if you've got one of them that's down, you want to keep that in your back pocket.
Yeah.
So I keep that part of it, Tim. I'm not bothered by that as much because I know the character of these guys.
Absolutely. And if there had been something distinctive that had happened for us to be sure as to why he was out of the game, but there was none. And that led obviously to all we could do. And we asked the Kansas State people to tell us more about his status, and they gave us no further information. So we can only play with the hand that we're dealt is what I'm trying. And put that in your Twitter pipe and smoke on it. From the 43. DiMarcano inside the 40 to the 37-yard line. Gavin Fourchet comes up to make the stop. He's been very active today, this youngster from Tyler Junior College. They've got some really good defensive backs, Spencer, don't they? These hybrid safeties and corners.
They really are, man. They're athletic, and the thing I like about them is that they play the run for us so effectively. They're not afraid to give up their body. We used to call these guys, both receivers and defensive backs, pencil necks for a reason, but you'll see none of that timidity in these guys right here. They're tough.
Second down and 5. DiMarcano again. He's got the first down at the 30. You know, you think about Duggan, Spencer. He's from Council Bluffs, Iowa State, Nebraska. They could have had him, you would think, right? Here it is. with 83 career touchdown passes, 60 pass, 23 on the ground.
Watch Palmer vacate his spot right here on the game and field inside, right? That vacated spot right there. When you get displaced, that's what we call run fits, Tim. You've got to not get displaced from that. Otherwise, you get gashed like they did on that play.
First and 10. I mentioned all of that about his background and his geography, Spencer, because those are all teams with quarterback issues. You think about where he's from, all around him. Iowa State, Nebraska, all with quarterback issues. 2nd and 9.
If you don't think that matters, we were just talking about Iowa State being the darling of this conference just less than a year ago.
Absolutely.
And look where they are right now. It matters, man.
Lost a lot of close games. 2nd down and 9.
The time of possession disparity almost up to 9.5 minutes now.
Then they just run the clock out.
How about that?
A lot of pressure coming there. Big time. Robert Hintz II, the nose guard, senior from Batesville, Mississippi.
Boy, I'm telling you, all 282 pounds of him. Vince comes in there. He had his ears pinned back. Watch the big fella playing the zero technique, right? Nice little game inside, but he didn't get displaced. We just showed you the previous play where if you're going to do a game or a deal or move over to space, you better get back to where you just vacated.
Now that's a play that may keep Kansas State in the ball game.
Well, that's unbelievably good play right there.
They're out of field goal range after that.
Yep. And that's so big against if you're playing a 3-man front, because you're the only line of defense. You have 2 battery mates.
3rd and 19.
We've done one good job of correcting that.
Middle screen, and they were wise to it.
Yes, they were.
Did not move. Matlack was right there. And
Excellent anticipation on part of Garrett Riley with the screen call, but again, the reaction by Joe Klanderman's group on this defensive front, recognizing and reacting to that. Heads up, still engaged as we're here with 4:09 left to play.
Kansas State took a timeout. They're trying to save as much clock as they possibly can. It's going to take 2 scores, which is asking a lot, obviously, with Howard at quarterback and with the way their offense is put together. But we've certainly seen some big plays from them tonight, Spencer, from the moment Howard came in, especially. But the second half has been all TCU.
And these plays don't have to be impressive. I mean, we're in the 8 plays now, 41 yards. As Coach Cardin looks on, 8 plays, 41 yards, and this drive began at 8:35, Tim, and we're at 4:09. So they're chewing up a lot of time, possessing it, keeping the offensive opportunities away from Wildcats.
So 1 timeout remaining for the Wildcats. And here's Jordan Sandy with an opportunity to kill one inside the 20-yard line, and when he does, that is stopped inside the 20, he donates $20 to the Hope Center of Autism here in Fort Worth, Texas.
If he skies this thing, the wind is blowing right in his face. He should kick that ball down like your 9-wedge.
Watch the wind catch it. That catch is called, and it does go into the end zone. Unfortunately, he's upset too. He wanted to put that $20 into the Autism Center. His 9-year-old cousin back in Australia suffers from autism. Sonny Dykes knew how much that would mean for his TCU Horned Frogs. And they came in averaging 48 a game. Another interception. That's to put it away. Trey dodges. Tomlinson gets it done. It was intended for Malik Knowles. And a sour taste for Howard, who otherwise had a marvelous game when called upon to pitch it for Adrian Martinez.
Yeah, tough execution. Roll it to your left. Trying to throw it back against the grain to a stupid receiver coming to you. And it's all about execution on those plays. And if you're not on the money, man, the margin for error goes down to virtually 0.
That kid played really well tonight, though.
Yeah, so again, you're sliding. Your eyes are moving. You try to throw it back across your body. And not enough on it. Knowles had no shot at that ball. Channeling some of his relative skills there to get in there and run it back.
First 29 and a half minutes, Kansas State was up 28-10. Last 27 and a half, TCU up 28-0. Miller. Gain of 3, it'll be second down and 7. Second and 7. Miller to the 31. Well, Spencer, now think about this, what this does for TCU from the standpoint of taking some control of their position now. With what they have ahead, they go to West Virginia next week. It's not easy, but West Virginia's struggling. Texas Tech hammered them today. All right, then they're at Texas. We know that Texas is not back just yet. See Oklahoma State for details on that. Then at Baylor, you get Iowa State at home on November 26th, and they are in the catbird seat with this win. They really are.
I tell you what, opportunity lost though for Kansas State. And I'll tell you why at this point.
On 3rd and 5, Miller stopped at about the line of scrimmage.
You know, because if they were sitting there looking at Oklahoma State, Texas, Baylor, that's kind of a murderer's row. And they've been in a position to win this one tonight. They could have done the same thing that TCU has a chance to do. Now, the implications take us back to what, 2014? We'll see how things are going to play out there. They run the table.
Yeah, we knew then there would be problems and expansion would be needed, didn't we? Way back in 14. Well, the biggest sporting event on the planet returns to Fox Sports, and for the first time ever, it's taking over the holiday season. The FIFA World Cup begins November 20th on Fox and FS1.
It'll be a November to remember.
Yes, it will be. Think of all the great games in football. England versus the United States, all kinds of rivalries that go well beyond the rivalries in college football, but we'll certainly have those to go around as well that time of year. Oh, what a festive holiday season it'll be.
I look forward to some crumpets and tea.
Murray DiMarcado back in the backfield now. And Duggan down beautifully from another sluggish start. And he gets it down to the 26-yard line, taking some hits. He may have gotten the yardage. Yes, he did. That's the first down, and that should sew it up.
He's a